You don't know it yet, but your name's already in the system. Not for something big, not something anyone's chasing, just a flagged transaction. That didn't make sense. It gets reviewed for a second, then pushed aside, forgotten. Or at least, that's what you think. Because while you're moving on, nothing actually disappears. It gets logged, cross-referenced, stored with 1,000 others. Not important enough to chase, but not invisible either. And that's where people get it wrong. They think if nothing happens, they're safe. But the system doesn't need to act right away. It just needs to wait until you make the second mistake. Level 2. The pattern forms. You do it again. Not the same way, not the same place. Different city, different timing. Careful. At least, that's what you think. Because you're not repeating the obvious. You don't go back to the same location. You don't use the same routine. You change just enough to feel smart. But patterns don't live in obvious choices. They live in habits. The time you move, how long you wait, the way you prepare, even how close you get before you act. And then there's the part you don't see, your phone. You never use it during anything important. You made that rule early, but you still carry it. You still check directions, still look things up, still exist inside networks you don't control. A tower logs your presence near one location, then another, then another. Individually, it means nothing, but stacked together, it starts to narrow. You're one device in a sea of thousands, then hundreds, then a handful that keep appearing at the wrong places, at the wrong times. You think you're one in thousands. They're already deciding which one you are. You don't notice, because nothing changes for you. No calls, no pressure, no sign anyone is getting closer. But somewhere inside the Federal Bureau of Investigation, 2 cases get placed side by side, then 3, then 4. Not confirmed, not proven, just similar. And similarity is enough. A small team gets assigned. They don't chase you, they study you. They rebuild your movements using fragments, timestamps, locations, gaps that shouldn't exist. You're still free, still moving like nothing's wrong. But now, you're being watched with intent. And that's the difference. Because once a pattern exists, it doesn't fade, it sharpens. Level 3. You cross the line. It wasn't supposed to go this far. Something changes. Not planned, not controlled. Just one moment where things don't go the way you expected. Someone reacts faster than they should, closer than you planned. You hesitate. That's the problem. Because hesitation doesn't fix anything, it forces a decision. Back off or commit. You commit. And in that moment, everything shifts. Because now there's a witness who didn't just see something, they remember it. The way you moved, the way you reacted under pressure. The fact that you didn't stop, that's enough. Because this isn't small anymore. This isn't a report. This isn't a pattern. This is a threat. And threats don't sit in databases. They get attention. The cases don't just get grouped, they get elevated. What was a small team grows. More agents, more time, more urgency. And now someone is assigned to do one thing. Understand you, not your name, not your face, you. They map your decisions, where you take risks, where you hesitate, where you push forward when you shouldn't. They rebuild your behavior from fragments, timestamps, locations, reactions. Even that one moment you thought didn't matter. It does, because pressure changes people. And when you were under it, you showed them exactly who you are. You think you're adapting, changing methods, being smarter, but you're not removing the pattern. You're reinforcing it. Because now they're not guessing anymore, they're predicting. And that's when it becomes dangerous. Because once they can predict you, they don't need to find you. They just need to wait. Level 4. The manhunt begins. This is when you feel it, not a guess, not something you can ignore. Something is wrong. A car you've seen before, twice now. Parked, engine off, same position. You tell yourself it's nothing. It isn't, because this is the point where they stop watching from a distance and start closing in. Your name isn't just in a file anymore, it's active. Addresses get pulled, old contacts revisited. People you haven't spoken to in years suddenly get questions they weren't ready for. Some of them answer, some of them don't. It doesn't matter, Because every answer fills a gap you didn't know existed. Your world starts shrinking. Places you used to move through without thinking now feel exposed. You notice things you didn't before. A glance that lasts too long. A car that slows down near you. A moment where something just feels off. And then you almost walk into it. A routine stop. Nothing unusual. You step inside and freeze. Too quiet. The door closes behind you. A little louder than it should. One person at the counter. Another near the exit. Neither of them move. They're not pretending to be busy. They're not distracted. They're waiting. You feel it immediately. Not panic, recognition. You've seen this before, just not from this side. Your eyes move without your head turning. Distance, angles, exits. The one near the door shifts slightly. Not enough for anyone else to notice. Enough for you. Your hands stay relaxed. Your breathing doesn't change. You don't look at them again. You turn, slow, like you forgot something. The door handle feels colder than it should. You push it open, walk out, same pace, no rush, no hesitation. But the second you're outside, you don't go back to your car. You keep walking. Straight, then left, then across. Break line of sight. Only then do you move faster. You don't know if it was them. That's what makes it worse, because now the rules have changed. You're not just reacting anymore. You're avoiding. And avoiding means one thing: you've been seen. Now everything accelerates. You change routines, new routes, new habits. Less time in one place. You start cutting corners just to stay moving, leaving places earlier than you should, ignoring things you would have checked before. Because stopping feels worse than risking it, but it's reactive. And reacting means you're already behind. Because while you're adjusting, they're coordinating. Local units, federal teams, information moving faster than you can. You're not just being tracked anymore. You're being contained. You don't know the scale yet. You don't see the full picture, but the space around you is getting tighter. And for the first time, you stop thinking about staying ahead and start thinking about disappearing for real. Level 5, survival mode. You don't plan anymore. You react. Whatever structure you had is gone. No routines, no safe places, no time to think past the next few hours. You move because staying still feels dangerous. You leave because every place starts to feel exposed. And slowly, the problem isn't them anymore. It's you. You're not sleeping properly, not eating enough, always listening, always watching. Every sound matters. A car door in the distance. Footsteps that don't match the rhythm around you. A voice that lingers too long. You start seeing patterns where there aren't any. And missing the ones that are. Because this isn't a game anymore. It's survival. And survival is messy. You spend nights outside, not by choice. Cold air that cuts through whatever you're wearing. Ground that never lets you rest properly. You wake up constantly, every hour, sometimes every few minutes, because silence doesn't feel safe anymore. Food becomes a problem. Not finding it, keeping it, carrying less, moving faster. You eat when you can, skip when you can't. Your body starts adjusting, then failing. Energy drops, focus slips. You misjudge something simple. A step, a distance, catch yourself, barely. Simple decisions take longer than they should. You start making trade-offs. Warmth or visibility, speed or caution, rest or distance. None of them are good. And the longer it goes, the worse your choices get. You stay somewhere longer than you should. Trust something you shouldn't. Push through exhaustion because stopping feels worse than getting caught. Your body breaks first, then your judgment. You stop thinking ahead. Just one step, then the next. That's all you can handle now. And once that happens, it doesn't take much. One wrong turn, one bad choice, one moment where you're just too slow. You don't notice it at first, because nothing ever feels like the moment, until it is. And by then, it's already over. Level 6, out of options. It doesn't happen the way you expect. No dramatic last stand. No perfect escape that almost works. Just an ending. You're already tired. That's what matters most. Not injured, not cornered, just worn down. Because this isn't about speed anymore. It's about time. And time is something you've been losing the entire way. You're slower now, not physically, mentally. Decisions take longer. Reactions lag just enough to matter. And that's all it takes. It happens in a moment that feels ordinary. A place you chose because it seemed safe, familiar enough to trust. That's the mistake. Because safe doesn't exist anymore. You notice something late, too late. A car that doesn't belong, a door that opens at the wrong time, movement that feels controlled. And then they're there, not rushing, not chaotic, positioned, like they've already seen this ending before. You don't see all of them. You're not supposed to, just enough to understand. This isn't a reaction, it's a setup. Commands hit you all at once. Sharp, direct, repeated. Hands, down, don't move. Your brain tries to catch up, but it's behind. You think about running for a second, a real second. You measure it without realizing. Distance, speed, chance. And there isn't one, because this was never about catching you off guard. It was about waiting until you couldn't respond properly. Your body knows before your mind does, and it gives up first. Hands go up, slow, empty, and just like that, it's over. They move in fast after that, controlled, efficient, no hesitation. Because to them, this isn't the end of something complicated. It's the completion of something already decided. You're searched, restrained, moved, all routine, all expected. No one talks about the months, the decisions, the pressure, the constant movement. None of that matters here. Because from their side, it was never chaos, it was process. And after all of it, after the running, the hiding, the surviving, you don't feel hunted anymore. You feel still. For the first time in months. No movement, no decisions, no next step to figure out. Just an ending you didn't choose, but can't change. Your name becomes a case number. Your story becomes paperwork, filed, stored, closed, replaced by the next one. And somewhere else, someone is making the same early mistake you did, thinking they're careful, thinking they're ahead, not realizing. The system doesn't need to rush, it just needs to be right. Once. You were never running from them. You were running on their timeline.